There are moments in hip-hop that feel bigger than the music itself. Moments when culture, image, loyalty, and identity collide in real time. That is exactly what happened when Remy Ma went live. What started as a simple stream quickly transformed into something far more layered and far more emotional than anyone expected. For years, Remy Ma and Papoose represented something rare in hip-hop culture: visible loyalty. Their relationship was not just a romance. It became a symbol. It survived incarceration, industry pressures, public scrutiny, temptation, and the endless commentary that follows celebrity couples. Their love story was often framed as modern hip-hop folklore. He stood by her during her prison sentence. She came home, and together they rebuilt their lives in front of the world. Interviews painted them as solid and untouchable, a blueprint. Whenever conversations about real love and rap surfaced, their names were mentioned automatically. They were presented as proof that commitment could endure even in an industry notorious for instability. Over time, that image, carefully reinforced and repeatedly celebrated, grew bigger than the two individuals inside it. So when rumors began circulating in recent months, fans did not treat them as ordinary gossip. They saw disruption. There were subtle online clues, speculative blog posts, perceived shifts in body language during public appearances. Nothing was confirmed. Nothing was explosive. But there was just enough ambiguity for whispers to grow. Just enough space for fans to start watching more closely. Then she went live. At first, the energy did not feel dramatic. It felt casual, relaxed, almost like any other spontaneous stream. The lighting was ordinary. The tone was not immediately confrontational. She greeted viewers, responded to comments, and moved through the familiar rhythm of social media engagement. But then something shifted. You could hear it before you could fully identify it. A slight change in cadence, a tightening of emotion in her voice, a pause that lingered just a second longer than usual. Gradually, she began speaking about perception, not naming rumors directly, not calling out headlines, but addressing the weight of public expectation. She talked about how people fall in love with an image, how fans sometimes cling to a version of your life that may not reflect your complete reality. She spoke about pressure, the kind that builds when your relationship becomes symbolic for an entire culture. It was not defensive. It was not aggressive. It was reflective. And that reflection made it powerful. When someone who has long projected strength suddenly speaks from a place of layered vulnerability, even a digital room changes. The atmosphere shifts. Attention sharpens. She did not say, "My marriage is falling apart." She did not accuse anyone. She did not confess to betrayal. Instead, she explored something deeper. The idea that marriages are human, not monuments. That loyalty is not a performance. That sometimes the people perceived as unbreakable feel suffocated by that very perception. The comment section exploded in real time. "He's not treating her right. She deserves better. This sounds like she's preparing us for something." Others pushed back. "Y'all are reaching. She's just venting. Stop trying to break them up." But it was not just what she said, it was how she said it. There was exhaustion in her eyes. Not weakness. Exhaustion. The kind that comes from carrying a public narrative for too long. At one point, she spoke about the difference between privacy and secrecy. That distinction landed heavily. Privacy protects. Secrecy hides. In that subtle contrast, fans felt like she was communicating something without fully spelling it out. As the live continued, she touched on independence. How women in hip-hop are praised for strength yet criticized when they express doubt. She spoke about growth, about evolution, about how silence can protect everyone involved, but can also weigh heavily on the person carrying it. No names. No direct allegations. Just layered commentary that felt deeply personal. Then came the clip that went viral. She said she did not want to be boxed into a fairy tale that other people wrote for her. That sometimes the love story people celebrate does not account for the quiet struggles that never trend. That was the moment everything shifted. Because Remy Ma has never been perceived as fragile. She has been perceived as resilient and unshakable. So when she hinted that the fairy tale might be more complicated than it appears, fans recognized this was not random commentary. It was narrative reclaiming. Within minutes, blogs posted excerpts. TikTok creators isolated the most emotionally charged sentences. Twitter threads dissected every pause and facial expression. YouTube commentators uploaded reaction videos analyzing tone and word choice. And Papoose remained silent. To the internet, that silence spoke volumes. Some interpreted it as maturity. Others saw avoidance. Regardless of perspective, the absence of an immediate response intensified speculation. When one half of a power couple speaks vulnerably, and the other does not publicly engage, the vacuum fills itself. But this moment became bigger than them. Hip-hop culture has long glorified the ride-or-die narrative. The woman who stands by her man no matter what, the couple that overcomes everything and remains publicly solid. Strength is often equated with endurance, with staying regardless of circumstance. Remy's live subtly challenged that equation. What if strength also includes honesty? What if growth sometimes means redefining loyalty? What if a power couple does not have to perform perfection to be respected? Those questions lingered long after the live ended. Fans felt conflicted. Some applauded her vulnerability. They argued that it humanized her and dismantled the illusion that celebrity marriages are immune to ordinary struggles. Others felt uneasy. They worried that public transparency might weaken something that once felt sacred. Once doubt enters the conversation, the internet rarely handles it gently. What began as gossip evolved into something heavier. The conversation deepened and expanded beyond one relationship. It became about representation. Women in hip-hop used the moment as a springboard to discuss emotional labor. The unspoken expectation that they must hold relationships together publicly, while carrying private burdens quietly. Loyalty is celebrated in theory, but in reality, it is tested relentlessly. Hashtags trended. Podcasts analyzed the dynamic. Commentators questioned why women are often expected to maintain composure while absorbing scrutiny. There were broader discussions about reputation management, about how female artists frequently feel responsible not only for protecting their own image, but also for preserving the legacies and egos of the men around them. It stopped being about a single live stream. It became a mirror reflecting deeper gender politics within the industry. At the same time, another debate emerged. Does transparency empower, or does it destabilize? Some argued that putting feelings on the table reclaims control. Others insisted that public vulnerability invites chaos more often than clarity. In an era where audiences demand authenticity, yet weaponize it instantly, the line between strength and overexposure feels razor thin. Through all of it, Remy did not escalate. She did not jump back online with dramatic follow-ups. She did not double down or attempt to clarify every interpretation circulating. Instead, she allowed the moment to breathe. That restraint carried weight. In a culture addicted to constant updates and escalating drama, silence can feel radical. Her quiet did not seem empty. It felt deliberate, measured, even strategic. Sometimes saying less forces people to sit with what has already been said. It denies spectacle the oxygen it needs to grow. Days passed, yet the clip continued circulating as if it had just happened. Each replay generated new interpretations. A facial expression that once seemed minor began appearing intentional. A phrase that sounded casual suddenly felt layered. The story refused to disappear because it tapped into something deeper than celebrity intrigue. It touched nerves around gender roles, public image, emotional resilience, and the cost of visibility. In that way, it became more than a viral clip. It became a cultural mirror. Was she preparing fans for separation? Was she simply venting? Was the pressure external rather than internal? No definitive answer surfaced. But something undeniable occurred. The image shifted. Not shattered. Shifted. The idea of Remy Ma and Papoose as untouchable evolved into something more human and more layered. In a culture that often idolizes perfection, that humanity felt almost revolutionary. The bigger takeaway was not betrayal or scandal. It was narrative control. For years, their marriage had been used as an example in interviews, podcasts, and think pieces. Proof that real love survives hip-hop chaos. That image inspired fans. It reassured them. It offered hope. But images can become cages. In that live stream, Remy subtly unlocked the door. She did not destroy the narrative, she complicated it. And complexity makes audiences uncomfortable. People prefer simple heroes and villains, stable fairy tales and dramatic collapses. Gray areas demand maturity. As weeks pass, this moment may eventually fade into the archive of trending topics. Another controversy will dominate timelines. Another live stream will spark debate. But something deeper remains altered. The expectation that hip-hop couples must appear flawless may never feel quite the same. Once someone publicly acknowledges the weight of being perceived as perfect, the illusion cannot fully restore itself. The real suspense is not whether her marriage survives. It is whether the culture evolves. Will fans allow celebrity couples to be human without demanding constant proof of unity? Will vulnerability be respected instead of weaponized? Will authenticity be met with empathy rather than exploitation? Remy Ma's live did not shout revolution. It quietly delivered reality. Marriages are private ecosystems navigating public storms. Outsiders rarely see the full picture. In that moment, she chose authenticity over polished image, and that subtle decision resonated. Hip-hop has always claimed to value truth-telling. In that live stream, something undeniably real was felt. And once the emotional temperature shifts, conversations about love and loyalty in the culture never sound exactly the same again.